So over the last 5 years, we've built multiple businesses past $1 million a month, some doing even 3 to 4 million a month. And in this series, what I want to do is we're going to start a brand new business and we're going to scale it from 0 to 100 grand a month as quickly as possible and document it on a weekly basis. Now, the idea for this series, it actually came from a series that I started over on my Instagram as I'm uploading daily, like every single day, what I'm doing for that day to document, again, building this business from 0 to 100 grand a month. The issue that I was finding though is it's really difficult to break down like all these concepts in 60-second increments. So I thought, hey, let me retroactively week by week go through the previous 7 days and then just give more context to each of the days so that, again, if someone wants more information that's not enough over on Instagram, they can come over on YouTube. But even this in and of itself, like you don't need to watch the series on Instagram, but you can just watch this and just get more in depth of the exact day-to-day process that's going on to, again, scale from 0 to 100 grand a month. So you might be seeing, I'm like looking over to this screen. If you want the document that I'm looking at right now, it's just will serve more as a resource. Click the first link down in the description and it'll bring you over to this Notion page and we can kind of just jump in and go through some of these videos. So day number 1 was just an overall intro to the series over on Instagram. So really what I talked about is why I'm doing this in the first place. So I said at the beginning in the intro of the videos, we've built multiple businesses past $1 million a month, right? The only thing is we've never documented the series of us doing that. And the reason that I want to start doing it is it's going to do a couple different things. Number 1 is it's going to create conviction with clients that we might work with in the past. So, there's this thing in the online space, right? The online education space where there's online gurus and, they'll start a business, right? They'll start the business, they'll build the business a little bit, and then they'll get to a point where they're like, well, let me make a course around this and then stop doing the original business that they made the course around. And the reason that doesn't work, I mean, it's pretty common sense, right? It's like if you start something and then you don't do that anymore, you can't really teach how to do it. It's like, let's say you're like a fitness coach and then you got really fit and then you started coaching people and then you got really like unfit, right? Let's say you got overweight and you're teaching people how to lose weight. It's like those two things don't mesh, right? You're not actively doing the thing that you're teaching. So because we're actively doing what we're teaching and we're continuing to do that, I just want to show like, hey, it's not difficult, right? It's not, or I'll say it's not easy, right? It is simple. Like the step-by-step process is there. And I want to show what that process looked like. Now, just to be completely transparent as well, I'm doing this series in a very selfish way. What do I mean by that? Is I want you to get so much value out of this free information that I'm putting here on YouTube. And I want you to go out, I want you to implement, I want you to start making money from it. And then I want you to come back to us once you're making 20, 50, 100 grand a month, so that we can help you scale past that to whatever your goal is, whether it's 500 grand a month, $1 million a month, $1 million a month plus, whatever you're looking to do. I want you to come to us after you've taken some of this free information and implemented. So that's really what I went over on day number 1, is just overall introducing the series. Now, day number 2, I was thinking about, just getting like right into the business aspect of it. But I think there's this limiting belief with a lot of like newer business owners when they're starting from scratch, is that you need to have all your ducks in a row and you need to, do a lot of these things that don't make you money, right? A lot of people, they have this initial idea and they're like, I want to, let's go make my website and let's go make my logo and let's go make, my brand colors and let's focus on this and all these things that take, days, weeks, months, even sometimes, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to start by building out the branding because you don't even know what you're going to sell yet, right? You don't know the audience that you're going to go after. You don't know like really any of the main things that you need to understand in order to scale a business, right? Or even create the business in the first place. So why not focus on the things that are going to actually make you money, right? And figuring out what your offer is, figuring out who the ideal client is, figuring out, really what you're looking to do. And then you go back and scale. I'll tell you a quick story. The first business that we brought to past $1 million a month, we didn't even have a website. The logo that we made was like text that we typed out in PowerPoint and then took a screenshot of it. Like we joke about it all the time because it's just like, we look back and we're like, man, we didn't have a website. We didn't have any of the stuff that people usually start with. So just to overall reiterate, you do not need those things to start a business. And quite frankly, you shouldn't do those things when you're first starting a business. So jumping into day number 3 was, again, I was in this mindset where like, hey, let's start talking about more specifics, but there was still just one thing that, or really 3 things that I wanted to talk about, which were 3 mandatory mindset shifts that you need to make before you start making money online and start creating a business. And the reason is because if you don't make these mindset shifts, a lot of times you can't even get past the fact of like creating the offer and selling the offer because you don't understand these three things. So the first thing is understanding, especially on social media, especially on like in this online space is, and not even online, just even, you know, if you wanted to make like products in person or start like a baking business or whatever it may be, is this first thing is understanding that sales is not a bad thing. Like literally take that thing. I actually saw a video from a buddy of mine recently where he was like, I stopped making content because I felt like I was selling. But again, just that in and of itself is making the assumption that sales is a bad thing. But there's really only two reasons why sales could be a bad thing. Number one is, or people just have this like this negative, they have this negative connotation around sales because of their past experiences that they've had with sales. I use this example all the time. It's like the used car salesman. Is people have bad experiences with used car salesmen, so they automatically think that sales is bad. Or like the other example I use is, you know, you're walking through the mall and you got that guy that's trying to put lotion on your hands and sell you the lotion, right? Those are the negative experiences that make you, you know, take your eyes and look the other way. So you don't want that, right? You don't, like, obviously you don't want to do sales in that way. So the second part that I was saying is sales is a good thing and it's actually necessary if you actually care about the person on the other end, right? If you actually care about the person, and more importantly, here's the key here, is if you're feeling that sales is like, if you're feeling gross with doing sales, it's because you don't have a product that fully aligns with what your ultimate mission is, and your product might not be as good as you think that it is. Because if it is, right, like another example I always use is like, let's say you had the cure to cancer, for example. You're not gonna hold that and be scared to like go out and like sell that to somebody or whatever, right? I was gonna say give it away or sell, but in that example, like you wouldn't be scared to like scream that from the rooftops. You would be screaming it from the rooftops. Like you'd be extremely excited about it. You wouldn't like stop talking about it because you're fully invested in helping and helping other people, right? Having the cure to help other people. So if you create a product that aligns, which obviously we'll talk about that in the series, if you create a product that aligns with your audience, it aligns with those people and actually is helping people, it becomes a lot harder to not want to sell that to people. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's really the first mindset shift that I would say. The second mindset shift that's super important is understanding that you can sell high ticket prices. There's this, you know, mostly like in the online, like the education, like creator space, is people selling products for like $7 or $100 or whatever it may be. But the thing is when you're looking at the most scalable and also with the least amount of headache possible is going to be high ticket. And when I say high ticket, that's a product ranging from $3,500 or $2,500 upwards, right? Some of our products range from $12,000, $15,000, even upwards of $70,000 per year that we sell for these products. And you can do this exact same thing, right? You need to understand that, you know, people are usually scared to sell high ticket because of two reasons. Again, number one is, or not even like things that hold them back, but more of just like understanding that people will buy high ticket, right? I think that's even just like the biggest mindset shift, is just understanding that people will and they do buy high ticket prices, right? So here's the thing. If you have a product that, let's say they, you know, here, well, I'm trying to figure out which way it would be on video. So let's say you have a product here and there's a person here. All you need to do is show them how your product is, or I'm sorry, they're here, here's their end goal, your product is in the middle, right? If you can sell your product and showcase how your product is gonna be the thing to get them from here to here, is the money aspect of it, it basically disappears. Now, I'm not saying like you can sell every single person, and I'm not saying, you know, get every single person to get a credit card or get a loan or borrow from their family, whatever it may be. But what I am saying is if you are good at what you do, and you are doing it in an ethical way, they will find the resources, right? They will find the money to do so, whether it is from a loan or a family member, or maybe getting an extra job. Like I've had so many conversations with clients where they will literally go out and like, they want the product so bad that they go out and like drive Uber to make extra money to be able to afford the program. And then they do it. And then now they're, you know, able to live better lives, right? But it's just understanding that like you can sell those prices if you position it in the right way. And then I already talked about this, but if you don't want to sell that product at a high ticket price, it's usually because you don't believe in your product, right? Now, it is very different from like an ROI versus non-ROI standpoint offer. But when you think about it, if you're selling a thing for like $2,000, right? But the thing that you're selling them can help them make $100,000. a year, right? It's like that $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to what they can make. Now, I'm not saying, sell it and say like, you're guaranteed going to make this amount of money, because that's when you start to get in trouble. But if you fully believe in your offer and you know that it can help them make money back, it's going to help them out, or it's going to help you to understand that they're making a return on their investment. If it's not a return on investment offer, I honestly think those are a lot, I wouldn't say easier to sell, but if someone's like a health coach, for example, is you can sell it in the fact of like, hey, you need to lose weight now, because you can either pay it now or you can pay it down the road with hospital bills. You know what I mean? So there's so many different ways around it. I've kind of focused on this a lot, so I'm gonna skip past it now. But we'll talk a lot more about that down the road when it comes to sales and conversion and things like that. So I know I said 3 mindset shifts, but there were kind of 3 baked into those 2 different examples. So moving on to day number 4. So day number 4, I was really trying to figure out, what am I going to offer, right? That's the next logical step of like, okay, I have an idea to start a business. What am I going to sell? Like, it's just such a big thing that holds people back. But really the way that I would think about it is just look at what you're good at, or skills that you have, or things that you think that other people would be interested in, right? Or just things that you can help people skip the line. That's what I'm always thinking about, is like, what do I know? What's in my head that I can package up into a mentorship or a course or a one-on-one or consulting, and then sell off to people that will want to be able to skip the line and pay to skip that line, right? It could be the difference of literally years that they take, that they could, crawl and try to do it themselves, or they can just pay me and they can figure it out, in the snap of a finger, or, in the amount of time that the course is. So really, when I was thinking about this, every offer that I've built out in the past was around a skill set, right? A skill set that I had. But when I really started to think about it, it's like, one of the things that I've spent, basically my entire life on, and what I've built a lot of my offers off of, is content creation. But it's funny, because I've never built an offer around content, and small micro things, but never really like a full-on course or program around content creation. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I've been posting videos on YouTube and creating content for 17 years. Why don't I make a course around that, right? Why don't I make a course around content creation? And, when I was thinking about it, there's really, there's always this mindset I think people struggle with when they think about, okay, I want to create this course, is they start to go into this place of doubt. And they go to this place of doubt because of other people already having had done it. Because at the end of the day, like, there's so many people out there, right? There's so many people and there's so many businesses out there that have already been started. And a lot of times, there's a book called Steal Like an Artist that I really like. It talks about like, hey, like, there's no such thing as a brand new idea. Just go out and see what's already out there and kind of refine it. But in that very concept is, because there's things that are already out there, when you create your idea, it's probably modeled off of something you've already seen. And then it immediately is like, well, there's people already doing it, so should I even do it? There's already competition out there. And I use the word competition, like I've always used that word. But I think the other word that people do use that keeps them back from actually starting is saturation. I don't personally believe in saturation. Saturation only occurs when there is no longer a solution for a problem that someone has. And if you're creating an offer around a problem that is well known, is a lot of times that problem is going to continue to come up for people, right? Like, when I'm thinking about content creation, is I would teach people how to make content around or content that is actually going to help them generate leads, generate business. So the problem of them needing more leads, when is that going to go away? It's not. Right? It's been a problem for thousands of years of people needing to generate clients, and it'll continue to be around for thousands of years. As long as we're continuing to buy and sell things, companies will always have issues, or people will always have issues generating leads for their business. So that's the problem. I'm creating a solution around that. And how I get past the idea of competition versus saturation is understanding that fact. It's always going to be around. And then understanding that, like, all I need to do is just become better than my competition. Right? And I think that scares people. It scares people that, like, oh, this isn't going to be an easy thing. But if you're in the place where you want to build a business, or you're wanting to start a business, is you kind of need to set the expectation that it isn't going to be easy. Like, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? If it was easy, everyone would be an entrepreneur, but they're not, right? A lot of people are stuck in 9-to-5s. A lot of people are stuck in, more traditional ways of making money, which is fine, right? That's fine. But at the same time, is if you're wanting to build a business, just set the expectation that it's going to be a little bit more difficult than, working in at a day job. So that was really day number 4, is figuring out high level, okay, what am I gonna offer? Okay, I decided like content, something around content was gonna be the thing that I focused on. Now, day number 5 is where I really wanted to dive deep into the type of audience that I wanna serve, right? Step number 1 is figuring out what are you gonna offer? And then after that is, who are you gonna go after, right? Because in every industry, there's always gonna be, people say niches, right? Different niches to go into. But this is kind of like before niche, because it's overall like, well, I guess technically it is, right? The audience is the niche. So when I'm thinking about content creation, I'm thinking more of like, okay, do I create a content, or what I was thinking was, do I create content around, do I help business owners get better at content? Or do I help everyday people get better at content, right? There's 3 different types of audiences. There's B2B, which is business to business. There's B2C, which is business to consumer. And then there's like a middle area, which is B to solopreneur. And so B2B is like, again, I would help businesses. B2C, it would be helping like everyday people create content. And then B to solopreneur is just, again, that middle area. So, that's kind of the decision that I was faced with. But then when I really started to think about it, I was like, you know what? And this kind of led into day number 6, is I was comparing and contrasting, okay, businesses, like what would be the benefits of going after a business, right? The benefits of going after a business would be they have money, right? They have the budgets to spend. They also like understand that like content's not going to be easy, right? They kind of have that expectation that's probably going to take some time, or at least if I was to tell them, hey, this is going to take 6 months to see success, they would understand, because they know that good things take time, right? They know that. So that was like the pros. The cons, however, is I've talked to a lot of businesses, like a lot of business owners, and I've been preaching content creation for the last 17 years. And a lot of times the objection is, well, I don't have time, right? I don't have the time to do that. It's going to take me too long to learn. So the thing is, at the place in my life where I am right now, I don't want to have to convince somebody that they need to do something, right? I don't want to convince people that they have to do this or they have to do that. I'm just here to like present the solution, and like you should need, like, that you need the solution, right? And then you have B2C, which the pros there is like, yeah, they have more time, they can actually implement. But a lot of times what happens is B2C is you're not dealing with the time aspect, like I said, but you're more dealing with limiting beliefs, right? You're dealing with mindset barriers. You're dealing with them not wanting to show their face on camera, right? All the things you kind of need to do to be a content creator. So, as I was going back and forth, I was like, neither of these is actually that great, right? Neither of these are the best, right? I don't think I really want to go after these. So day number 7, I had a massive epiphany. And the epiphany that I had is more in that like B to solopreneur route, where, again, and I think there's a lot of offers out there, and a lot of like people that are trying to teach everyday people how to create content and turn that into a job. And a lot of offers out there that are trying to create and teach businesses how to get better at content creation. But the B to solopreneur route, I was thinking about it, is probably one of the best industries to go after and really double down on, is going to be content creators and influencers, right? Already existing content creators and influencers. Because here's the thing, is if I look back at, I was really diving into my story, because, I think like it's really important for you to be like, for you to have had lived through like the struggles and the hardships of the avatar that you're dealing with. I guess it's not necessary, but it definitely helps, right? It helps you to be able to like have those same pains, so you can pull it out in marketing and not have to do as much market research. But what it allows you to do for me, what it allows me to do is it just makes my marketing a lot easier. So when I had that kind of epiphany, I was like, like already existing content creators and influencers. The reason this is good, or this audience is good, is because I don't have to teach them how to create content. They already know how to create content. And then also like working in some of our other businesses is it's called Sales Team Accelerator, is we help businesses scale, right? And we help them put money into advertising and help them grow. The main bottleneck that avatar struggles with is they have kind of a lot of the back end stuff figured out. Like they have an offer, they have the fulfillment of like how they're actually getting that offer to people set up. They're seeing decent client results, but they just don't have the first piece, which is actually generating business, right? They have to start the ads and they have to create the ads, and sometimes it's pulling teeth because they're not good on camera, and like all these things that business owners kind of struggle with. But with influencers and creators, right, that already have an audience, they have that first hardest part solidified, right? They already have that set up. And then the beauty of it is if I'm helping a creator or influencer, all I need to do is teach them how to be a business person, right? If I look back at my journey as a creator, right? Again, I started when I was like 12 years old making YouTube videos, and I got taken advantage of a lot when one of my first YouTube channels popped off because I was young. I wasn't a business person. I was just good at making videos. But these businesses were coming to me and they're like, hey, we'll pay you, $1,000 here, $2,000 here, $3,000 here, which at the time it was good, right? Because I was younger. But I was also getting taken advantage of in the sense of these were companies like Zillow and NASDAQ and Coke and, all these big businesses, like multi-billion-dollar companies that were paying me pennies based on what I was actually worth because I wasn't a business person and I didn't know how to sell myself. So if I can come in and I can teach an influencer or creator how to think more business minded, I can then help them create their offers. I can help them, still have to think about a lot of the stuff of how it's going to be structured, but I can help them create their offers, help them get better at sales, like all the back end stuff that we already have done and validated with some of our other businesses. The other reason this is really, really good is because if we're talking about competition, is there is competition, don't get me wrong, like there's people in the space, but a lot of the people that are teaching creators how to monetize their audience were creators that just learned how to monetize their audience. So they're teaching them in kind of I wouldn't say a backwards way, just not the most efficient way, as opposed to what we've learned is like we've mastered turning cold traffic into warm traffic. So the difference here though is people that have followings on YouTube, have followings on Instagram, have followings on TikTok or whatever the platform is they already have a built-in super warm audience, right? A very, very warm audience that wants to buy stuff from them. So if we can just teach them how to create an offer, which the offer a lot of times for someone that's an influencer or creator, they don't really care as like the consumer that's buying that thing doesn't really care as much about the offer. Or I will say there's more leniency behind it because they're already like the consumer that's buying it is already sold on the person. They already know, like, and trust the person. So really what they're doing is they're buying, for the offer, but they're also buying for closer proximity to that person, right? Because they've built that know, like, and trust, like that's, what's it called? The one-sided relationship. I can't think of the word right now. It'll pop up. You guys will probably tell me in the comments. But it's like they have this relationship with that person where they feel like they know them as a person, right? Now it's bugging me that I can't think of that name. Anyway, so that's going to make the offer creation way easier. When it comes to the sales process, it makes it a lot easier because again, they already know, like, and trust them. So the sales is not like objection handling and any of these things. It's just like, hey, how much is the thing? Oh, it's that much? Okay, perfect. I want to buy it from you. Like that's literally what the process looks like. And then fulfillment gets way easier because again, you have more leniency around the offer. So if they ever are a little bit, hesitant or frustrated or whatever, is you have the ability to like talk to that person and they're going to feel a lot more trusting in you to be like, they'll say, hey, this is my struggles. And then you come in as that influencer, as the person they look up to and help them through that process. So that's really like me as I'm thinking about it now, like I'm really excited to be able to get this out in front of more people and really build out this offer because I think it's a big missing piece in the industry. And it's my background. Like I can speak to this forever. I have the screenshots to show I've been a creator for such a long time that I went through these struggles that, when we're building out the marketing message and the VSL and the ads, like I know it's going to be a game changer to have this type of information. And to almost have this upper hand, with a lot of other creators that maybe they have a content creation program, but they've been making content since 2020, right? They started in the pandemic, or maybe it's been 5 years, whatever it is no one has the 17 years on me. Now, very little people can actually, say they've been creating content as long as I have that has like a product like this. So that's it. That's day number 7. That is the recap of what I did over the last 7 days. So again, just intro the series, how to not start a business, a couple mindset shifts to go through, and then, the offer, audience, and really doubling down on influencers and creators. So next week, I'll launch another video around what the previous 7 days from day, 8 to 14 look like, and really break down what this looks like and how we're going to price it, how we're going to create the content, how we're going to create the offer, how we're creating the VSLs, like literally everything beginning to end. So again, down below description, you can go ahead and check out the Notion doc. You can click a video on screen right now, check out the next one in the series. See you guys in the next one. Talk soon. Peace.